Hi everyone, before the video truly begins, I just want to say real quick that this video is going to seem a little out of place because it's not retro, but it does have a retro kind of feel to it, especially with the part I am reviewing. I've never actually reviewed a modern component before, so that's kind of why it's a little off. It's also off because it seems like it's a filler video, which it is. This video was never intended to be released. It was mainly just me experimenting with lighting, a different camera setup, and different editing things. I was watching some tutorials on how to use my editing software and try and learn to do better stuff. Also because I had some audio problems popping up in some videos and I couldn't quite track it down. I tried different cell phones, which I use for cameras because they're cheap and they do pretty good recording. But I actually figured out it was this shotgun mic that I had bought, which apparently says it's for digital cameras and phones. But ever since I started using this, I've been having some audio problems, which somebody did notice on my, I believe it was my XP video. So I hope this is the problem I'm having with my audio. But the reason why this is also a filler video is because I had contracted COVID in October, which I was very lethargic, and I just lost interest in doing anything computer or video game console related. So I didn't get anything done for about basically the entirety of October. And then I'm working on building a new computer. And unfortunately, when I was doing some stuff with my hard drives, I noticed when I was editing this video and another video, some footage had been lost on a lot of other videos that I had. So a lot of clips were gone, corrupted, unrecoverable. So this is just a filler video until I can get some more videos put out. So with that being said, here's the odd review video. So put down in the comments what you think about it. I might do some more. Hi everyone, welcome back to Definitely Casual PCs, and in this video I'm going to be doing something different than I haven't actually done. The first thing is, before I get started with anything, is my retro game computer room is almost done actually. All these were on shelves on the wall, but that shelf actually fell off. I guess I didn't use strong enough brackets, so I'm actually going to be those brackets are more than strong enough, but I kind of skimped out on these because it was the second run of the hardware store, but whatever. I don't know if this is staying. This was kind of just like a thing I was going to use to display the 8-bit computers, but I don't know if I'm actually going to do it that way now. But anyway, I'm doing something different in this video while I'm taking a break from this computer over here, because this is a build I started about 2 weeks ago, and it's been giving me some hardware problems. It will just fail, lock up. I'm having some problems. I think I got it figured out now. That's why it's right here running, because I'm testing the game out to make sure it holds steady. But this video, I'm actually going to be doing not really a review per se, because I'm not finished with what I'm doing yet with what it involves with, but it's going to be more of like a preliminary pre-build review, because I'm actually going to be building another computer here pretty soon, and not a retro computer. It's actually going to be a new computer, newish. Show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to be talking about a computer case here, mainly because I kind of want to. It's something different I want to try and do, because a lot of the stuff I have that I could review is more of like retrospectives, because it's all older or vintage or retro hardware. And because I'm building a new computer to replace my current multi-use computer, I've been gathering parts for the past year and a half, 2 years. Year and a half, not 2 years. That's way too long to be gathering parts. But this is actually one of the first parts I got, was this case. And I kind of want to do a little bit of a review on it, because technically it does have some retro features. But I do want to talk about at least a pre-build preview, I guess, because I think it'd be kind of fun. It'd be something different I can do. So, take a look at it. This is the Thermaltake Versa H22. It's part of the Versa H line, which I think includes the H18. I think there's an H20 and a 21. The main chassis is all the same design, but it's the front panels that are different between these. The reason why I picked up this case was A, because it was just cheap. This is marketed towards um, very, very budget builds and budget builders, which is great because that's what I am. I'm building this on a very string tight budget. Um, but besides that, this case it has a lot of modern features for a lot of the modern parts I'm going to be putting into my new build. It's going to be a Ryzen build. Um, it's going to be like a B450 board, a Ryzen. I'm not going to give the details yet because I mainly want to talk about the case. So I was looking for a case, and I was always seeing like these $100, $200 cases that looked really cool for a modern build, which is what this is. But I also kind of like some retro aesthetics. So I was talking to my local computer guy, and I kind of told him what I was doing. I said I didn't really care for RGB. If it has, if my cooler has RGB, great. But I'm not going to be hunting for RGB. I'm just building a basic, computer to replace my current one. And he kind of recommended this case almost right away. And when I said, well, how popular is it? Because I kind of want a case that, has a lot of, features that modern builders look for and that I'm looking for because I'm a retro builder. He actually showed me like a line of like a dozen of them with all different hardware configurations. Some were just basic like I don't know what the current Intel is right now, H310. Business boards with like 8 GB of RAM and just onboard graphics, all the way up to like Ryzen 9s, like current Ryzen 9s, in this case. He said he wouldn't run an RTX in one of these because there's not, it's not a super swoopy airflow case, but it does have enough airflow to keep stuff cool. So let's take a look at it, and I'll show you some of the features as to why I wanted to go with it. Little table on the table. Ignore the mess back here. I'm still, like I said, this little table that these two TVs are on. I don't know if that's going to stay there forever. That's just kind of a catch-all for right now. Anyway, let's take a look at the case. It's kind of reflecting my blue accent lights. Anyway, so we have a generic, just black. This is a ATX, but also it's a full ATX with MATX support, so it'll take a variety of boards. We have a dedicated power button, dedicated reset button, hard drive light, which is, so these two right here are something that I actually because I like that I'm getting a physical feedback that my hard drive's working. I mean, even though clearly if it's running, it should be accessing and working, but it's just one of those little lights I like to have on. I like to see. Dedicated reset. There's a lot of cases that don't actually have this. Like, I was surprised to find that even he mentioned it. He said a lot of cases aren't coming with dedicated reset buttons. We have a black, kind of a glossier black mesh front, kind of a recessed area here for some taller coolers. Apparently, this will take a like one of the Evo 212 coolers. Apparently, that's that's what he told me. Right, same way, nice pocketed area for cable management, which I'm going to be cable managing this to make it really clean. On the front, we have 3 5 1/4 dry bay spaces, which, again, this is something that's kind of disappeared from enthusiast cases, is optical drives. Not a lot of people use optical drives anymore. They stick with solid state or whatever drives they can put inside the case. A really nice kind of metal feeling badge emblem. I've always kind of loved this Sawtooth style Thermaltake design. USB 3.0, 2.0, which I think is kind of useless, but it is a nice retro touch, and I'll talk about that after a bit. And HD audio ports. We have a pre-installed fan, looks like a 120 millimeter with the Thermaltake branding. IO space. Already, blank space with 6 expansion slots, which are the knockout style. And power supply on the bottom with what looks like a filtered mesh for the power supply fan. So as you can see, it does have a lot of modern features, and it does have some retro features. Like the optical drive I really wanted was because I still mess with CDs. I still do. I still burn CDs. Not music CDs, but when I'm making like driver discs or operating system discs for my vintage hardware, I do need an optical drive, and I don't want to have, one PC to my main one where I have to transfer files from that to a computer with an optical drive. I kind of want to streamline as many computers as I can. So let's take a look on the inside and show off a little bit. Okay, we have the bag of goodies, which includes a walk-off plate for the already open dry bay cover, and a bunch of screws and standoffs, which now that I'm looking, I don't know why they have included standoffs. So we have all the cables for the USB 3.0, 2.0, and HD audio headers. We have the cooling fan, which is I actually looked on Thermaltake's website. It's called a turbo fan because it's a kind of a slower RPM but high airflow moving fan, or higher airflow moving fan. But yeah, the standoff things. There's these already included standoff areas already for. Well, it says it's labeled A, so I think that's for the full size ATX. Oh wait, never mind. There's holes. There's no standoffs for the micro. Okay. So that's what the standoffs are for. Let's see what else. We have 3 of these quick, toolless, optical drive lock-ins. 3 2.5-inch bay hard drive caddies, toolless, and 3 3.5-inch ones. So that's actually a really nice feature. So, but one thing I kind of want to bring up with that is, so you have 3 drives here, 3 drives here, and some full ATX boards, especially when you spend money on some of the higher featured ones, like I think the X level boards for Ryzen. And I'm just mentioning Ryzen because I have a Ryzen CPU and I was looking at boards. Some of those have like 2 or 3 M.2 slots. So depending on your board, you could have up to 9 drives in here. That's a lot of storage space, especially when some of these 3.5-inch drives are coming in like 4 terabyte. So there's a lot of storage space here. Nice little pocket here, which when this cover comes off, you can actually access the backside of the CPU. That's really good because now, say you install an air cooler like either the stock downdraft cooler or a tower cooler, and then in the future you want to put an all-in-one or a water cooler. You can just take this cover off and undo the fittings on the back to take the cooler off and put a new cooler on without having to take the motherboard out. That's actually a really nice feature that I like. You have this little, it's like a recessed area for your main ATX cords. Little pocket for your harness to go through here. The modern feature of the power supply going on the bottom. These knockouts. Okay, so the reason why I'm not a fan of these knockouts is mainly because I have a lot of vintage cases, like a lot. Someday I'll do a room tour or something and show all my collection, I suppose. But the reason why I don't like the knockouts is because when you look at a lot of those older cases that have the knockout styles, but these style knockouts, the reason why I don't like these is because when you build inside one of these towers, let's say, today or tomorrow, whenever I'm going to build this, I don't know what I'm going to build into this yet. I'm still waiting on a few more parts. I think I'm waiting at this time, still waiting on a cooler for my Ryzen because I bought a used CPU. I think I'm also waiting for, I don't know, I'll have to check my cart. It's been a while since I've actually bought any parts. It's been a bit. But let's say tomorrow I build, my Ryzen 5 into this. Air cooler, just the M.2 drive, and then a terabyte drive for all my games and software and settings and stuff like that, drivers. And I have to knock out, say 1 or 2 of these from my graphics card. And then say in 5 years, I decide I want to update hardware to at least a little bit more modern CPU, more modern graphics card, more modern, drives, whatever. Well, now, let's say I have a graphics card that's going to be in a different spot, or I put a different motherboard in, or whatever. Well, the graphics card might be in a different spot, so now these knockouts aren't going to line up, so I'll have to use this. But the thing is, yeah, you can find these things online, but isn't that kind of inconvenient that you have to track down more of these installable block-off plates? I mean, it can't cost that much more from the machining process, from a stamping out the metal standpoint, for all these holes that are in it, to just stamp out the entire thing and just put 7 of these in a baggie. I mean, even if that adds an extra, $1, $2, I would have spent an extra $2 for a full set of 7 of these. I mean, you're right there in the stamping process. Might as well. That's actually one of the complaints I have about that, is the way that's done. But it's a minor complaint. This is actually still a really good case. Now, I know that This is actually something I recently learned about this case. Was when I asked the guy I bought it from, the store, about airflow because I saw the one fan and it's got two spots for two 120mm fans on top. I said, but what about any intake? Because I didn't see a fan mount on the front and the drive cages are in the way. I actually did look up, a bunch of reviews on this case, and turns out that that's a very common complaint is there's no front fan mount. Well, I had to look it up on Thermaltake's site. Is you pop the front cover off, you have a nice mesh. I've heard pros and cons about this style, so I'm not a major PC builder, so I can't, I can't judge this. That's also how you take out the drive bay covers. This is where the drive cages are, right behind this. This is a secondary filter, and yes, I did have to look this up. I did not know this after I bought it. You snap the 120mm fans on here. You can snap them in, and they'll fit right between here. But I will admit that does kind of pose a bit of an issue because now if I want to keep now the parts I'm using should stay cool with the fan that's in here. But if I wanted to put a second fan in here, say I put it on the top here, well, I'd have to take out all these drive cages to make sure there's airflow going through. I can't put any drives here. Or if I put a fan on the bottom, I'd have to make sure I have no drives here. So I'd have to pick and choose which style drive I want to use to make sure I get airflow going across through this area as an intake. Which, since I'm using mechanical hard drives, I might put, if I do ever put a second fan in here, it's going to go right here. So I'll have to take these out. But so far, that's not too bad. So that's the case, and I can't do a full review of it because I haven't built into the case yet. But the guy I bought this from said that these cases are so easy to build into, especially if I'm using MATX, because there's so much room. There's a lot of little nooks and crannies for cable management. It may not be perfect cable management, like completely disappear, like some of these high-end cases can. But he said this isn't for an enthusiast. He said these are more for the budget DIY builders who are looking they don't care about the case, they care more about the hardware going into it. And that's kind of describes me. It has some retro features like the optical drives. It does kind of have a somewhat of a retro look to it. It actually does remind me of like the older Antec cases or the older like XP Vista 7 era cases with the mesh fronts. It's got the USB 2.0 on the front, which technically means I could put a much older motherboard in here that supports USB, like the early Pentium 4s, Pentium 3s. I think even late Pentium 2s. I could probably put in here, and it'd be a pretty nice reverse sleeper build. But until I actually build into the case itself, I can't say this is a great case. I can't say it's a crappy case because one thing that this case is, it was $45, I think, when I bought it late last year, early this year. And like he said, you really can't. You can find cases around the same price, maybe a couple bucks cheaper, but once you get to that $30-$40 price range, you really can't get much cheaper unless you get a fire sale or it's an open box, damaged, scratch and dent, something. Because the cost of materials plus the cost of shipping, because these things take up size. They may not take up weight, because this case it's not much. So shipping weight isn't the problem, it's the shipping size. And you get a pallet of these, it costs money to ship that. So, it might cost Thermaltake, $20 to produce these, but with shipping and all other stuff, it might actually cost like 40, 45, which is what I've seen this for. I've actually seen this case for like 60 somewhere online. I don't remember where. But yeah, you'll see this case again when I actually do build into it. And I might do another video like this, like the pre-build, pre-review, at least of my thoughts of what I at least on appearance level. That's all this is. That's just an appearance level talking about the case. I love the way this case looks. It's sleek. There's no RGB. I kind of wanted to get the windowed one, but he doesn't keep the windowed one in stock. But no, it's actually a really good looking case. It has a lot of the features, like I said, that appealed to me. The retro, vintage part of it, the USB 2.0, the optical drives, and the space for the 3.5-inch drives. Because that's the thing that's going away. A lot of cases aren't supporting that anymore. They're only doing the 2.5-inch SSDs or M.2s. They're not doing the big full-size drives because not a lot of people are doing them anymore. So this case has a lot of features that I was looking for. So with that being said, I want to say thank you for watching this experimental video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments of whether you've used this case, you built into it, or any other budget cases. If you want to see me talk about some of the other parts I'm going to be putting in this new PC, and any comments that you have of my retro room. I think you can see my accent lights in the back. I haven't really quite set on a color yet. I've just been cycling through them day by day, practicing this. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.